member. Recognizing the member for Burnaby North.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak in favour of the motion. Be it resolved that this House support this government's actions to secure BC's watersheds so that safe, clean, abundant water and healthy functioning ecosystems are available to communities, nations and wildlife for generations to come. 2 years ago, like a lot of people, I didn't really know much about watersheds. Then I was appointed to the Select Standing Committee on Finance and Government Services. One of the central functions of that committee is to seek public input about what items should be included in the next provincial budget. During the 2021 public consultations, we heard from many organizations who raised the alarm about water security. These organizations included Living Lakes Canada, Okanagan Basin Water Board, BC Watershed Security Coalition, Outdoor Recreation Council of BC, BC Freshwater Legacy Initiative, Lake Windermere Ambassadors, Rivershed Society of BC. They told us that climate change is increasing the necessity to monitor our water supply, and to do so, we need to increase our monitoring capabilities. They warned that if we don't do so, BC will run out of clean water and we will have to start making hard choices about how and where to limit water usage. To illustrate the point, the Lake Windermere ambassadors informed us that the glacier that resupplies the Columbia Water Basin will be gone in 20 years. The Okanagan Basin Water Board told us that the water levels in the lake fluctuate more than they did in the past and the current infrastructure is no longer adequate. The Real Estate Foundation of BC and Watersheds BC suggested that developing and funding a watershed security strategy would create jobs, boost local economies, protect drinking water, protect critical salmon habitat, and strengthen relationships with Indigenous partners. In our conclusions, the committee noted that the water has long been considered a limitless resource, but that in the face of climate change, the abundance of water can no longer be taken for granted. We agreed that water security is vital to health, to the environment, and to economic growth. And to that end, this bipartisan committee unanimously recommended that funding for watershed security be increased. Watershed security became an even greater presence during the public consultation the following year. Two themes ran through the more than 20 submissions. One was the importance of watershed planning. The Peachland Watershed Protection Alliance highlighted that in the face of the previous year's climate disasters, watersheds provide natural defenses against drought, fire, and floods. Organizing for Change explained that in a decades-long absence of planning, many of our watersheds have become degraded. The BC Dairy Association noted that farmers have begun working together to schedule watering, and that without water planning, our food security is in jeopardy. The other theme that struck me as a member of the committee was that so many of our watersheds in BC are privately owned. Cumberland Community Forest Society explained that the watershed that supplies the town of Cumberland had been privately owned until it was purchased to create a watershed and biodiversity conservation area. They also drew our attention to the fact that the majority of land containing watersheds in southern Vancouver Island is privately owned, and that therefore the water supply of surrounding communities is vulnerable to profit-based resource extraction companies. Living Lakes Canada expressed similar concerns regarding other parts of the province. The First Nations Fishery Council of BC explained that accelerated development and climate change is infringing upon First Nations rights, livelihood, health outcomes, and food security. The committee learned that the only protected watershed in BC is the one that feeds the Metro Vancouver water system. In our conclusions, the committee acknowledged that the province is at risk of reaching a dangerous point of water insecurity. We expressed considerable concern about the prospects of failing to address this issue now. We noted that BC is lagging behind other jurisdictions when it comes to water conservation. We noted that we need to do a better job of monitoring all bodies of water to ensure usage and extraction is sustainable. Our sense of urgency was reflected in our recommendations. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I want to thank the many individuals and organizations throughout the province who are working hard to protect this valuable yet underappreciated resource. They motivated me to teach myself that refreshing water that comes out of my tap in my home in Burnaby is part of 115 million liters that come through our pipes every day. Thank you.
Thank you so much.